All right, start kind of jumping into this partway through, but what I want to show you is how I'm getting traffic to superloser.io and www.superloser.io to go to my Oracle Apex app, that is a specific app that is running on MaxAPEX. Now, they offer a service with, well, they'll do basically DNS, or I don't know what it is, what their service is called, but basically multi-domain. And they're routing with a CNAME record on my Hover account that points to them. They're able to route www.superloser.io to a particular app. And see, so that comes up. So if I was to share that link, that works. But if I share superloser.io, that doesn't work because they can't do that one. That's a name record. And on Hover, I've got to point to an IP address, which wouldn't get me to this application, and they don't do any kind of magic or anything, so I need a reverse proxy. Been doing that on Oracle Cloud with a compute instance, costing me about $40 a month, and then it broke, or at least I thought it broke. Really what happened was MaxAPEX's cert was out, and it looked like my cert was out, and I couldn't figure it out. And it was all kind of hokey and barely working. I wasn't sure why it worked. It wasn't the simplest way, and so I decided to tackle Amazon Lightsail and set up an Nginx reverse proxy on Lightsail. So here I am. Here's the one that works. It's shut down, and I've got a new one. So all I've done is create a $5 a month Lightsail instance, called it superloser.io. I want Linux with Nginx running, and that is up and running in US East 1. You may consider a different domain. And once that's up and running, what we want to do is get a static IP. Let's see, where is that? They're not offering me that as an option because I'm already using it. Connect to, okay. They're not even offering me, let me go back to, I'm using a static IP for this one. Networking, maybe it's networking. I think it's under networking, that's it. Let's go to Superloser 4, go to networking, and we need a static IP. And as long as that's attached to an instance, I think it's free. We're going to call this Superloser for static IP. And it's free while attached to an instance. And we can manage up to 5 at no additional cost. Very nice. So here's my static IP address. So I'll go into my Hover account for superloser.io, and I will change the name records for what it's just like an asterisk and a @ sign in the where www would go in that box, and we're going to point that to this static IP address. And I'm going to pause the video for that. So I have updated the DNS records in Hover, pointed my two name records to this IP address. Notice if you pull this address up, you should see your Lightsail instance serving up Bitnami and Nginx. There is a PHP app, myadmin, that you need to tunnel through SSH in order to pull up. I haven't done that for this. It's not needed, but I'm curious as to what I could achieve with that. Maybe things would be even easier. So any time now, then superloser.io should route to that same Nginx page because I've updated the IP address that this is pointing to. And I don't think it's HTTPS. It should reroute anyway. That should pull up shortly, and up there, I think it's gonna work. Okay. So anyway, let's move on. What we want to do now is go back to our Superloser 4 Lightsail instance. And this has been running for a little while. I would recommend you let it run like 15 or 20 minutes because there are some updates and things that happen that have prevented me from completing these steps and having to do it over. Another thing I like to do is once you have everything up and running in your static ID is go ahead and take a snapshot that you can restore to so that if in the next steps you mess up, you can recover instead of having to create this all again, get a new static IP, go map that to your instance. So the article that we're going to be using is, where is it? It's here. I'm using alternative approach, and you need to test whether you're going to use A or B. It's this article up here in the bar. What would you search? Let's go up to the top. Generate and install a Let's Encrypt SSL certificate for Bitnami application. And we're basically going to walk through these steps. I had to install bin. Oh yeah. So I don't think bin cert tool was there. I had to install that, figure out how to install that manually. I believe, but oh no, I don't think you can get bin cert. You're going to get Lego. That's right. You're going to install the Lego client because that's not available. So, so we're doing starting with alternative approach. We're going to walk through that right here. So let's connect to our instance. Let me just go check and see if this is working yet. Yep, it's working. It's funny, it's a little, oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, so superloser.io is now pointing to our Lightsail instance. Okay. So let's come back in here and it's going to, there we go. Okay. So here we are, just to show you around. You're in home. If you want to log into the PHP thing, this is the Bitnami application password in that file. And the Bitnami stuff is in opt, Bitnami, and then we're going to go to Nginx, and we're going to go to conf, and the file that we're going to be changing, we're only going to be making a very small change. I'm going to show it to you. It's right here. This is all I'm going to add. I'm going to add this server block, besides installing a Let's Encrypt cert and getting all that done. I'm just going to add this little block to do a return 301 HTTPS www.superloser, because we can route to MaxAPEX with that, and then adding the request URI, basically just tacking it on. This is the simplest way I know to do this, and so we're going to add that block to. Let me just open up the file. VI, not default. It's nginx.conf right here. So we're not creating any new files. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to jump down here, and right here after this server block, we're going to add our server block. And we can do that now, I guess. Why not? Yeah, we want to do that now. Go ahead. So I'm going to... that ain't it. Undo. I think I need to right-click, copy, and go back and right-click, paste. Yeah, and then it's all messed up. Okay, we'll fix that. Where do we want that? Looks like they're using 4 indents. But anyway, that'll work. Okay, so I just want to make sure we didn't mess up any curly braces. You're going to add your domain there, and boom. Okay, cd $home. Now let's go through the commands in the article, and I'll try to go as fast as I can. Let's, if we can pull this out, and I can Alt-Tab between the two. So I already know what approach I'm using, but you want to run that, and approach A, using system packages. Okay, so Lego client install. Run the following commands to install Lego client. You'll need to replace XYZ placeholder. Yeah. So let's just highlight this all. And let's, whoops, put that right here. And we can run, what is that wrapped? Yeah, that's wrapped. Let's run these two. And all right. We are downloading the file, waiting response. It looks like it's going to be version 4.8.0. So let's go ahead, and while that's running, we're going to put in 4.8.0. We're going to run these commands. Okay, it looks like it did it. Let's just make sure. And 4.8.0. We're going to do a paste. Okay. maybe that worked. Okay. Generate a Let's Encrypt for our domain. We need to turn off all Bitnami services. You know, who really ever remembers all this stuff? I mean, most of IT is doing stuff like this. Reading articles and cutting and pasting. Okay. Oh, we've got to replace the domain. Yeah, here we go. Now, here's where I ran into I wasn't sure about this. So I'm going to put my email, put my email address in here. And the domain, you can do multiple. We're going to do superloser.io. We're not going to do this one. It doesn't work. I think because MaxAPEX, and I already have a CNAME record for it. MaxAPEX runs it. So does that run really at the end? I guess so. So we just need to do it for superloser.io. And this is, should get me a cert. Yes. Could not obtain certificates. Too many servers already issued for the exact set of domains in the last 168 hours. Oh, bummer. Bummer, bummer. Okay. Well, that's what I normally do. I go back to the article. This does work. So we go back to the article, and then you're going to, for Nginx, do approach A. You're going to copy these, and you're going to change the name of that domain to your domain name. I would do superloser.io, superloser.io right there. There's another file up here, the CSR file. It complained about it didn't exist. So just so you know, that didn't exist. And then we restarted our services. And I didn't get down to renewal, but we need to bookmark this, and I'll probably put it in the home directory, my notes on this, so that I can find this article again and maybe even copy these commands so I can do the renewal when that comes time, and I'll add that. Ideally, that would be automated. I'm not sure. I haven't got that far with automating renewals. Unfortunately, I still do some manual renewals for various web servers. But that is basically it. You're going to copy those files to the right spot. And another handy command to know is when if you want to know if your configuration is any good, you do sudo nginx-t, and you want to make sure that's successful before you try to start things. So that's as far as I'm going to go in this video. So let me go ahead and exit out. So I'm sorry I can't. I've violated messing around with this. I've obviously done this too much, but you get the idea. This is the little block you need to add to that file, and then you run through that article, and what's going to happen is you're going to get a cert, and and you pointed your records to that. And let me go ahead and go back here. We're going to stop this particular one. I think I also ran sudo app update and that kind of stuff on my other instance. I'm going to go ahead and start this one back up, and we're going to have to go update my domain records to the static IP associated with this particular instance. So once that starts, I'll go do that, and then I'll show you what happens. So, okay, at this point, I've gone and updated my DNS, and we pulled up git bash. If you're on Windows and you want a bash environment really easily, I use git bash. It's super easy to find and install. Ping superloser.io. It's still showing the old IP address. So when this starts, hopefully showing me the new address, there it is, new address, I should be able to refresh this page, and it should reverse proxy me to my Apex instance. Let's try this. I'm going to think about it. We'll come back to this. In the meantime, know that in Lightsail, we deleted that superloser 4 instance. Go to networking, and you're going to see a static IP that's not attached. You want to make sure you delete that, or you're going to get charged for it. So And why do they do that? They don't delete it automatically with the instance. So just because maybe you want to reuse it and keep the IP as you're moving things around. So that does make sense, but you do need to know to check that if this is first time you've worked with. There it goes. Okay, so it's working. So if I just type in superloser.io now, I get redirected basically to the www. So my proxy's working. What a couple things that could be improved here. If you go to the IP address, this still pops up. So some Nginx config to basically route this also to superloser.io is what I probably need to do. That I really hate Nginx, and I don't really understand all the protocol and server blocks and when you can use them and all that. Man, there is a need for something far simpler. We don't far simpler. Doesn't exist as far as I can tell. I mean, setting up a reverse proxy, it should just basically be a shell script, ideally, that basically installed everything and does exactly what you need. And you wouldn't have to know all the details of Nginx config. But the world hasn't got there yet. Hopefully, pretty URLs and vanity domains will be a lot cheaper and easier in the future. Using some sort of built-in service to Oracle Apex maybe that works off the back end or something and uses DNS. It does the registration and everything. That'd be cool. I'd pay $5-10 a month for that for each site that I'm hosting. Okay. What else can I show you? So we're back up and running. Of course, we come into here, snapshots. We want to turn on automatic snapshots. I don't think that will cost too much. I understand. Yes, enable. We'll watch our pricing on that. It's still going to be a lot cheaper than the Amazon Cloud option. And I really like Lightsail. Check it out. You can do this. Just if you do create instance, you don't actually have to go through this, but you can see they basically, if you want a WordPress site, come on, for the money. And, you can use these servers, basically. They're servers. You can get SSH access, command line access. You can install stuff. I mean, they're pretty cheap cloud-hosted servers. These are all the options you've got. GitLab. Oh, cool. I didn't know I could run my own GitLab. Not that I want to, but Drupal, Ghost, Plex, all kinds of cool stuff. Okay. So anything else to show? No, I think that's it. So that's how I've got this working, and I can... it's all running off the same Apex instance. I can build multiple apps, create different URLs and stuff, and they all map to that. So, okay, thanks for watching another long, boring Oracle Apex video.